kale kneels. The stench rises from the gallimimus, the sour, chemical odor that is not the clean scent of death. He tests the edge of his scraper, a tool shaped from the shoulder blade of a Parasite, Urolopiatus, against the creature's flank. The hide peels back too easily, revealing meat that is a sickly, bruised purple. It is not a clean kill. It is a rot from within. He stands, leaving the carcass for the flies. This is the third wasted hunt since the last full moon. The land is turning against them, a slow and silent poisoning that no spear can fight. The stream that once ran clear now crawls with a slick, grey film upon its surface, and the ferns along its banks are withered and black, as if touched by a malevolent frost under the hot sun. This chapter of prehistoric life is ending, not in the thunderous charge of a predator, but in a creeping, venomous whisper. Back in the cave, the air is thick with the same fear that Kale carries in his gut. The clan is gathered, their faces lit by the unsteady flicker of a tallow lamp. Old Alara, the matriarch whose eyes have seen 70 seasons of migrations, stands before them. In one hand she holds a shard of bone from the gallimimus, its marrow a dark, cottage jelly. In the other a bundle of the blackened ferns. She says nothing, letting the silence and the evidence speak. Their world, this sheltered valley that has fed their ancestors for generations, is failing. This corner of ancient earth is dying. Every hunter knows it. Every gatherer sees it in the shriveled roots and blighted berries. The hard choice is no longer about which hunting ground to favor, but about existence itself. To stay is to starve, to sicken, to fade into the poisoned soil. Alara finally speaks, her voice a dry rasp, like stones scraping together. The land has forgotten our blood. She turns and points with her chin, not towards the familiar hunting grounds or the high mountains, but to the east, toward the vast, hazy expanse of the great salt water that has always been their impassable border. But the Stonebacks remember the sun. A murmur of confusion and fear ripples through the clan. The Stonebacks, the Ankylosaurus, they are living mountains of armor and horn, moving fortresses of bone that wander the coast in small herds, impervious and indifferent. They are not prey, they are not predators. They are simply a force of nature, to be avoided at all costs. They cross the water, she continues, her gaze unwavering. When the season turns, they walk into the waves and they do not sink. They swim toward the new sun. We will go with them. The idea is madness. A wave of disbelief silences the clan. Ride them. Build a life upon the backs of walking rock. It is a tale for frightening children, not a survival plan for a people whose entire history is written in the soil beneath their feet. Men grip their spears, knuckles white. The thought is a violation of all known things in a world ruled by dinosaurs. But Alara's gaze sweeps over them, seeing the hollows in their cheeks, the desperation in their eyes. She sees the truth they are all too afraid to speak. The future here is a grave. The water may take us, she says, her voice rising with a terrible certainty. The beasts may crush us. But here the blight will unmake us, piece by piece. There is a chance. She raises the blighted fern. This is a promise of death. The water is only a threat. She lets the fern fall. The air is tense, the fate of these early humans hanging on a thread of hope. Let those who would see a new world gather the bitter honey fungus from the high cliffs. The Stonebacks cannot resist it. We will make our own land. We will float upon their strength. The bitter honey fungus grows only on the highest, most exposed cliffs, a sickly sweet-smelling, ochre-colored growth that clings to the rock face where the wind scours everything else away. Kale leads the ascent. His calloused fingers and bare toes find purchase in cracks no wider than a man's thumb. Below him, the rest of the hunting party moves with the same desperate precision. There is no room for error. A fall from this height is a final return to the earth. This is the price of Alara's plan. Life risked not for meat, but for a chance at a new one. They use ancient tools, flint and cess, to carefully scrape the tough, leathery fungus into hide pouches. The scent is cloying, almost intoxicating even in the open air, a smell of rotten honey that speaks to a deep and primal craving. This is anthropology in its rawest form, a species betting its existence on a deep, instinctual understanding of another's biology, a testament to the complex cognition of our human ancestors. They return to the coast as the sun bleeds across the horizon, painting the sky in shades of blood and fire. The stonebacks are there, a slow-moving herd of a dozen or more, grazing on the tough coastal grasses at the edge of the blighted zone. They move with the inexorable gravity of living rock, their low slung bodies bristling with armor. Kale's heart hammers against his ribs. To see an Ankylosaurus up close is to understand one's own fragility. Each beast is a fortress of fused bone. Its back a sprawling mosaic of fused osteodermis, its tail ending in a club of solid bone that could shatter a predator's skeleton with a single lazy swing. The clan gathers behind a rocky outcropping, the precious fungus now mashed into a pungent paste. The plan is simple. The execution is terrifying. Kale and two other hunters, Mar and Bor, move first. They carry long poles with wads of the paste smeared on the end. Crouching low, they skirt the edge of the herd, moving in the giant's blind spots. They are not merely hunters now, they are ghosts, praying the wind does not shift. The air is thick with the beast's grassy scent and the low, guttural rumbles of their digestion. Kale extends his pole, smearing a line of the fungus on a broad leaf just ahead of the largest ball, melting back into the shadows. The beast lowers its massive head, its keratinous beak snipping the leaf. It chews once, twice. It stops. A deep, resonant shudder runs through its body. For these Homo erectus, the world was not a thing to be conquered, but a series of lethal puzzles to be solved. One by one, the great beasts find the offerings. A placid drowsiness settles over the herd. Their movements slow, their heavy eyelids droop. This is the moment. The emotional turning point is silent, a shared look between Kale and Delora. The clan moves from the rocks like a stream of ants, carrying their meager world with them, rolled hides, bone-tipped spears, fire starters, and the last of their dried meat. Kale is the first to climb. He slings his spear across his back and approaches the now dorsal bull. He places a hand on its flank. The hide is like petrified leather, warm with the slow, deep heat of a reptile's life. He pulls himself up, his fins swaying slightly on the back of a living island. Below, his people stare up in awe and terror. They are no longer of the land. They are something new, born upon the back of a monster. The first days are a fever dream of labor and fear. Life is now measured by the slow, swaying gait of the Ankylosaurus herd as it moves with instinctual purpose toward the water's edge. The clan works frantically, lashing together their shelters. They use long strips of cured hide to bind driftwood and scavenged branches into crude frames, anchoring them to the jutting scoots and horns on the dinosaurs' backs. There is no solid ground, only the shifting landscape of armored flesh. Every pole secured is a gamble against being thrown off or noticed by their living vessels. They are architects of a floating world, pioneers in a terrifying form of symbiosis, a desperate leap in human evolution. They move with a quiet, terrified efficiency, their voices hushed, their movements deliberate. They are a flea circus clinging to the back of a god. When the moment comes, it is without ceremony. The lead bull, the one Kale first climbed, reaches the shoreline. Without hesitation, it lumbers into the surf. The water froths around its armored legs, then its flanks. The clan clings to their lashings, knuckles white. The beast does not sink. Its immense, barrel-chested body buoys it, and it begins to paddle with its powerful, stump-like legs, a slow, determined stroke. A flotilla of living fortresses pushing out into the great salt water. The blighted shoreline shrinks behind them, becoming a memory. They are adrift. For the first time, these ancient humans are sailors, their fate tied not to the soil but to the current and the whims of the beasts beneath them. The sheer, gargantuan scale of their gamble is breathtaking. A tiny, fragile civilization, afloat on a fleet of primeval battleships. The sea, however, holds its own ancient rulers. On the third day, Bor spots it. A flicker of motion on the horizon that resolves into a shape both alien and terrifyingly familiar. A fin. A massive dorsal sail, taller than a man, slicing through the waves like a bloody blade. The whisper spreads from raft to raft, a contagion of pure dread. Spinosaurus. The great fish hunter, the serpent of the waves. It is larger than any land predator they have ever faced, a creature of two worlds, and this is its domain. The dinosaur documentary of their lives has taken a horrifying turn. It circles their flotilla at a distance, its long crocodile-like snout just breaking the surface. It is watching, studying. It is an intelligent predator, and it senses a strange new bounty has entered its waters. The attack comes at dusk. The creature explodes from the depths beside the re-almost Ankylosaurus, a smaller female carrying Mara on her two young children. A wall of water and teeth. Its conical jaws, designed for seizing giant fish, snap at the edge of the dinosaur's armor, searching for purchase. The sound is a horrifying crack of tooth against osteoderm. Mara screams, pulling her children toward the center of the raft. The Ankylosaurus, startled and enraged, bellows a low, guttural roar and swings its massive tail club, but the water impedes the blow. The Spinosaurus is too fast, too fluid. Kale on the lead ball sees the chaos unfolding. Panic is a luxury they cannot afford. He shouts, his voice raw, spears the sail. It is a desperate, altruistic gambit. To draw the beast's attention is to invite death, but to do nothing is to watch their people be picked off one by one. The hunters grab their heaviest spears, their bone tips seeming pitifully small against such a monster, and begin to hurl them, not at its armored head, but at the one vulnerable, ostentatious target, the great, blood-gored dorsal sail. The spears find their mark. One, then another, punches through the taut membrane of the sail. The Spinosaurus, a sound of agony that is half hiss, half roar, and thrashes in the water. It is not a fatal wound, but it is an insult, an unexpected pain from the tiny, soft things clinging to the armored shells. It disengages, its pride and its flesh wounded, and sinks back beneath the waves, leaving only widening ripples and the clan's frantic, ragged breathing in its wake. They have survived. They have not won, for there is no winning here, only the brief postponement of defeat. But they have learned it. They have proven that even in the vast, indifferent ocean on the back of a living mountain, a single, well-aimed piece of sharpened bone, guided by courage and intelligence, can matter. Their journey is far from over. The sea is wide, and its depths are full of teeth. But the clan has changed. They are no longer a people of the land, but a people of the current, their lives a testament to the audacious, often suicidal, ingenuity that would one day define their species. This desperate voyage, this fleet of armored beasts and the fragile sparks of humanity upon their backs, is a microcosm of the entire human story. It is the story of looking at an impossible barrier and not seeing an end, but a challenge. It is the primal, defiant whisper that echoes down through millennia of human history, the audacious refusal to accept our designated place in the food chain, the core truth that when the world becomes uninhabitable, we do not simply die, we build a new one from the pieces of the old, even if those pieces are the backs of monsters. Here, in the deep echo of time, the chronicle rests, yet the currents of what if never ceased to flow. What if the blight was not a natural phenomenon, but the first sign of something far more alien falling from the sky?